My first introduction to NIH was coming here as a patient. And I met Dr. Wyndham Wilson, and I could tell he was very smart, and he knew everything there was to know about lymphoma, and I put my confidence immediately in him. And then the funny thing was, a week later, after I came here as a patient, I had to start my job at NIH. So I felt like a double agent, like I was an undercover cancer patient working in the clinical center as a psychologist who was going to see cancer patients and evaluate them for mental health concerns.
Tell me about your first day.
I was working for this wonderful boss at the clinical center, Don Rosenstein, and he said, Lisa, I'm going to take you on my first consult. It's a cancer patient. It's a lymphoma patient. He didn't know I had lymphoma. And he said, we're going to meet Dr. Wilson, and we're going to do a consult on one of Dr. Wilson's patients. And I must have just gone white, and I remember that, like, oh, my God, I'm going to meet Dr. Wilson.
Who you've already met.
Who's I already met as a patient, and I'm going to meet him now as a psychologist, as a provider. And, is he going to give my story away? What was he going to do? And I remember he just shook my hand and he said, nice to meet you. And he didn't give anything away.
Cool.
But I had to see one of his lymphoma patients who was needing a transplant. So it was a difficult time. One day I had to get treated because my tumors were growing. And I went up to the 12th floor, which is the oncology floor here at the clinical center. And all the nurses from the National Cancer Institute were up there. And I had just seen a patient with my white coat on. And then I showed back up at 3 o'clock without my white coat. And they said, oh, Dr. Horowitz, nice to see you. And I said, I am your 3 o'clock patient. And that was really hard. The code was when I wore my white coat, I was working. And when I wasn't wearing my white coat, I wasn't working.
And now you come to work every day and you deal with these people that are getting transplants. Do you say I went through it, or does it?
So I never say I had my own transplant, but I think when I'm listening and when I'm nodding and hearing their story, because their story is different than my story, I think I convey a knowing that I could never do in words by telling them I had a transplant. But I think when I say, yeah, that sounds really hard to go through what you're going through, and my heart, I know what that's like. And I think I'm able to convey that. I'm grateful that I could work here at NIH because I feel like I could give back like that every day.